Today we're going to take a trip up into Ophir Canyon. There was an old ghost town up there with the same name. It actually had several different names. Gold was founded there in the 1860s. They claim the camp grew to about 200 people at one time. It's located somewhere in central Nevada. If you see my videos, I usually show you a cup of McDonald's coffee for the drive, but those are usually for day trips. Where I'm headed to is a lot further out than just a one-day trip, so I just have camp coffee instead. And that's for the drive to go see the ghost town of Ophir. So let's go explore.
First, this is what camp looks like the first night here before we go exploring. Nice little setup, sleeping in the back of the truck. And then as always, you got to watch out for nature. Fortunately, this was a harmless snake, but it looks like it was going after some dinner down in this hole. Later in this video, we're also going to go explore an area known as Park Canyon. Park Canyon had a wonderful mill site there that we'll go explore. The discovery that drove activity in Ophir Canyon occurred in 1863 when a Frenchman named Boulerond found silver ore here. He is said to have remained secluded in the canyon for more than a year and traveling to Austin, some 50 miles to the north, by himself for supplies. He would enter and exit the canyon at night so no one would see him and locate his claim. When news of his discovery leaked out in 1864, several other prospectors, including John Murphy, for whom the Murphy mine was named after, he also discovered silver ore in the canyon. The Twin River Mining Company was formed that same year and it bought the Murphy mine. In 1865, the company infused capital into the mining operations, building a costly and elaborate 20-stamp mill near the mine. The large mill building, which would cost $200,000 at the time, was constructed of native granite, bricks, and shale, including 8 roasting furnaces, 8 amalgamating pans, as well as the first Stetefeldt roasting furnace that was placed into production beyond experimentation. This furnace process was created by Charles A. Stetefeldt. He was a German born in 1838. He immigrated to the United States in 1863, where he became an assistant professor of the chemistry department at Columbia University. However, he was well respected in the mining community and was one of the top mining engineers. He joined a mining consulting firm later that year. Stetefeldt became a principal in the firm, and he set up an assay office and consulting business in Austin, Nevada. Stetefeldt's idea came to the attention of R.B. Canfield of the Twin River Mining Company, which is operating the Murphy mine in Ophir Canyon on the eastern side of the TONOPAH Mountains. Canfield, in view of his own problems with processing Ophir ore, saw the potential for success in the process and agreed to assist in its evaluation. Construction of a test furnace began at the Murphy mine in June of 1867. After a break-in period over, a written communication received by the Belmont, Nevada newspaper, the Silver Bend Reporter, pronounced that the Stetefeldt furnace was a great success. The Ophir mine was not such a great success as the furnace. After producing ores valued at $100 and $200 per ton for 2 years, the veins pinched out, and in the spring of 1868, the company went into bankruptcy. It is said that the laborious process of extracting ore from the nearly impenetrable rock ate up all the profits. Soon after, the town was all but abandoned. Although the post office remained, the town was nearly empty. The Cambridge Silver Mining Company bought the mining interest later in 1869. The mining company was forced to cease operations in 1870 when it ran into labor problems. The post office closed December of 1893, and all the mines were closed by 1874. The town had reached its peak population of about 400 in 1867. The town also had stated that they had a school, church, various lodges, and several saloons. As you head west out of the Big Smoky Valley and head up towards the Ophir Canyon, one of the first things that you run across is a cemetery. That cemetery seems to overlook the entire Smoky Valley and is located at the entry of the canyon. Here's a few photos of the travel up the canyon. It's a beautiful canyon. And as we continue to get closer to the actual mill, you can see some evidences of rock foundations and rock walls, which would have been some of the residences on the way up. And with all my adventures, I always try to take photos of wildlife. I believe this is what is referred to as a blue grouse.
Here we are at the old ghost town of Ophir. It had several other names too, but this is from the 1860s originally. And this canyon is very narrow and steep to get up. There's no way I could have taken my full-size truck up here. So I relied on my side-by-side vehicle to get up here. Look at the size of those timbers going across those openings. It's pretty impressive, and you can see this was all dry stacked. If this was built in the 1860s, and I think they had a revitalization also of mining activity in the 1880s. But it's a very impressive structure. Very large structure. Some pretty big timbers, but they needed it probably for these snow loads that were around here. You see this person's cabin had a heating stove or area with the chimney out. Get a panoramic view. Down below is the Big Smoky Valley. And that's the canyon we came up, which is called Ophir Canyon. Just trying to give you an idea of what it must have been like to go up these steep roads to the actual mine sites and then haul the ore back down in wagons and by horse. Very laborious. This is what's left of the 20 stamp mill. From what I'm reading, they created this or built this in 1865 at the cost of about $200,000. I'll have to see what that equates to in today's dollars. Behind me here, I'm at Ophir Canyon, and that's a 20 stamp mill that was built in 1865. Money was invested with one of the mining companies called Twin Valley Mining Company. I claim it cost $200,000 at the time, 20 stamps. So quite an impressive process.
As I went further up the canyon, I found these structures near the pass. I'm not sure exactly what they were being used for. They're a long ways away from the mining operation. I don't know if they were cabins or maintenance facilities or what, but interesting nonetheless. This concludes our tour of Ophir Canyon. We're going to add to this video by going over to another place called Park Canyon, which is in the vicinity of this area. Park Canyon was a small silver camp, and it was born in 1865 at the center of the North Twin River Mining District. There were numerous mines that flanked this area on the east side of the Tonopa Range, and up until 1867, ore was shipped to Austin, Nevada for milling. That July, the La Plata Company relocated a 10-stamp mill from Yankee Blade to Park Canyon, housing it in a brick and stone building. It operated for 2 years before closing, and Park Canyon was vacated. I have not run across any historical photos of this particular mill. When you ride up here today, it's mostly the gigantic structure of the mill that exists. You can see a few other stone buildings. That's about it. Not much there as far as ruins go. A revival of sorts in this area began in 1885 when 2 giant mines were worked in the area. An old mill from Jefferson was moved in, but it was difficult to process the ore, and so the furnace from the Citizens Mill at Austin was moved in. The venture still proved to be a failure, and operations soon came to an end. The mill and furnace were ultimately sold in 1891. Park Canyon's longest running revival began in 1905 when work was done by the Brooklyn Group and the Millet Gold Mining Company. In 1911, that company sold its holdings to the Smoky Valley Mining and Milling Company. The Nevada National Company started a new 5-stamp mill in February of 1912, which was only used until 1913. Meanwhile, a gentleman by the name of J.W. Lawn restarted the old Plata mill, but it too failed, and by 1916, activity ceased. The Round Mountain Mining Company purchased the old equipment in 1920.
This mill was built in 1865 and pretty much operated without interruption until about 1870. And then all the mining in the surrounding areas had pretty much collapsed. So this became abandoned for a short period of time, and then there was a revival back in the 1880s, and it ran back then too. This was a 10-stamp mill, but quite a structure for built in the 1860s. Not very much in the way of ruins here around this little area. There's a few other stone buildings that you can see here that I've got showing, but nothing of real significance. But what a beautiful area this is. Well, I sure did enjoy the heck out of my trip through central Nevada. It's such a beautiful place. I got to go up there and visit Ophir Canyon, an area called Park Canyon. Both have history that goes back into the 1860s. Unfortunately, one of the canyons was pretty narrow for me to fly my drone, and when I was out in the open area of Park Canyon, it was a little bit windy, so I didn't get any drone footage, but all the other footage I got and the photographs that I took, hopefully you guys enjoy it as much as I did making it, and you guys keep exploring every chance you get. A lot of fun to be out there, and thanks for watching. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this presentation. I combined two areas, one called Ophir Canyon and Park Canyon, due to the proximity up in central Nevada. So please hit the like button and the subscribe button. It helps out a lot. Thanks for watching.